Welcome to Easy Mode. Radiance is one of the strongest builds in Lords of the Fallen. You destroy at close range, you destroy at long range, you can enhance your weapon to make it stronger, you can buff your armor to give you better defensive stats, you can cast summons to destroy your enemies, and if things go bad, you can even heal yourself. It's the best all-around build. What's up everybody, it's Riv, your guide to defeating impossible bosses in the most difficult games, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the best Radiance build in Lords of the Fallen. But before we get started, I'd please ask that you consider subscribing. Subscribing is the best way to support this channel, and believe me, you're not going to want to miss this video, and if you subscribe, you'll get more videos like this. Alright, let's get into the build. So getting into the build, we'll start with the stats. As you can see, I'm level 60. And my focus for this build is on Radiance. As you can see right here, it's a 34. And then I also scale to Vitality and Endurance. So the reason I do Vitality is obviously for health. And then the Endurance is for all of the heavy swings. I like to get as many heavy swings as possible. And I am a more dodge focused player. I prefer to dodge over blocking and guard regain. So I put my endurance up just for utilizing the dodge. And then when I started my build, I started with a strength build before I scaled into Radiance, so my strength was already up. So moving on to the weapons, as you can see here, I use Pieda's sword +3 with 2 runes socketed into the weapon. These runes, as you can see here, increase Radiance scaling and increase Radiance attribute scaling and reduce Inferno. So it's just a doubling up of Radiance scaling with a attack power of 186, a holy attack power of 125 plus 60, and it has a requirement of 25 Radiance. If you look at the top, you'll notice that it says that this weapon is labeled as a short sword. However, this is one of the longer swords in the game. It's the length of a great sword. It has incredible reach. And when you are using it single-handed, it has excellent poke damage. And when you're using it two-handed, it has an excellent sweep range for hitting multiple enemies at once. Next, we'll move into our catalyst, which is the Wilmair's catalyst, and as you can see, I have it as +6. It's very light at 1.3. It has 4 spell slots, which is great. Spell power of 178 plus 111. This is why we scale to Radiance. As well as being able to use Pieda's sword, we want to be able to effectively cast our Radiant spells, which I'll move into right now. Our first Radiance spell is Piercing Light. Piercing Light is just a Radiance projectile. You get it very early in the game. And as you can see here, it's just a charge Piercing Light of Radiant magic. Next is the Aura of Tenacity. This is great for approaching multiple enemies, big tanks, or going into boss fights. You surround yourself with a Radiant Aura, which decreases damage received. It's just essentially a defense buff. And then Radiant Weapon. Raise your weapon, and imbue it with Radiance. This one right here is a buff to your weapon. So if you're using a weapon like Pieda's sword, which is scaled to Radiance, and you imbue it with Radiance, it just scales it up more and makes it stronger. And then Healing Radiance. This one right here is just a Radiant heal. It just heals your HP. Excellent for if you are running low on your health heals or you don't have any of the health stones. When it comes to the armor that I choose, I like to just mix style and substance. Honestly, I don't overthink the armor too much. So for the helmet, I have Pieda's helmet. I also like to use this one right here, the Harrower's helm. I think it looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of like some Asgardian armor right there. Also, if you want to go full Crusader, you can use the Antique Hollowed Sentinel helm. That one just kind of fits the theme right there. But I stick with the Pieda's helm just because I like the way that it looks with this build. For my armor, I use the Crimson Rector armor for the most part. So when I'm going through areas that I'm unfamiliar with or something like that, I will use the Rector armor just because I like the amount of physical and holy mitigation that it has, as well as the Wither. That's great for going into Umbral. If I'm going against a lot of enemies at once and I want to tank, or if I'm going against a heavier enemy or a boss, I'll use the Sovereign Protector armor. As you can see right there, it has 333 physical damage mitigation. This is what it looks like. Thick Chongus right there. Definitely a heavy piece of equipment right there. And then if I'm going a little lighter, I'll rock the Paladin armor. It's not too light, but as you can see from the encumbrance, it drops it down a lot. This is just from the Dark Crusader build. For the gauntlets, I use the Paladin gauntlets. Again, this is just, it matches well. That's why I like it. Has 65 damage mitigation for physical, and then some decent holy fire, and then 45 wither. And then for the leggings, I use the Paladin leggings. It has 136 physical damage mitigation, as well as 92 wither, which is really good, especially when you're going into Umbral, like I said. And something to note is that the Paladin leggings and gauntlet, the whole Paladin set, is from pre-ordering the game when you get the Dark Crusader. However, you can find that set later on in the game if you don't pre-order the game or didn't pre-order the game. So moving on to the jewelry, we have the Paladin's Pendant. Like I said, my secondary scaling is to endurance, so this helps with strength and endurance. And then that'll be the theme for the next one, the Ring of Duty. It increases vitality and endurance. And then the Mine Owner's Ring increases your maximum endurance and your endurance regeneration. So as you're running away or as you stop moving and you walk, you'll notice that your stamina regenerates faster with the Mine Owner's Ring than it would if you were not wearing the ring. Quick access items are always going to be dependent on your build. However, I like to use the Sanguinarix, obviously, to heal, and then I like to have some sort of alternate heal and mana regeneration. So I'll have the large mana stone clusters or whatever mana stone clusters I can get. I'll also have the health ones, the red clusters. I don't have any on me at the time of recording this. However, I'll use those too, especially if I'm going into an area where I know I'm going to get hit a lot, like one of those high mob density areas. I'll pop one of those just in case before we go into the fight. Alright, so that's it. That's the build. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. What did you like? What would you improve? And let me know what build you would like to see next. I appreciate you watching. Again, if you would consider subscribing, it is the best way to support this channel. And if you made it this far, make sure to hit that like button. I've been RivTech, your guide to defeating impossible bosses in the most difficult games. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.